I'm here today because I want to begin a conversation around suffering, pain, joy, and God. Um, I've been increasingly concerned, first of all, in our larger culture, but also as it relates to the church, um, just some really inappropriate assumptions about life that really cause us to not connect with meaning in life. So let me lay down some basic assumptions. Uh, First of all, I want to start with the human assumption. Having a nervous system is good, and a nervous system that is able to engage and fully register the realities of life. Um, Whether those realities are um, ones that lead to joy, or whether those realities are ones that lead to uh, anguish. That to be fully human is to actually have a healthy functioning nervous system that allows us to connect with life. And that's generally how God has intended it. Um, in fact, damage to the nervous system is, in something like leprosy, uh, actually diminishes the quality of life and one's ability to engage it. Um, Secondly, Jesus is our model. Uh, so that's an assumption of mine. Um, the quality of life that Jesus had is kind of the quality of life that we as Christians can expect. And Jesus was known as a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. Um, if you think about the people who you know and that you respect, many of the people that you know, love, and respect are not the people who've just sort of shared the good times in life with you, but are the people who have shared your pain and your suffering. And um, in fact, if you disconnect from all pain and suffering, you might find out that you disconnect from meaning. And that's a pretty profound and challenging reality. And at some point, I'll want to delve into this a little bit further. Um, the third assumption that I want to lay out is that God wants us as humanity to work through the realities that we experience and not avoid them. And this includes the confrontation that every human being has to have with death itself. Um, Jesus doesn't avoid death. He could have, as God, being God, he could have avoided death completely. But he went through it, and he went through it in the hands of people who were doing it as an act of wrongdoing and violence, in the face of a government structure that was oppressive. And his action was now, I mean, was then, but now has established a pathway of hope for all of us. And so these are core realities. Um, if you fall into the assumption that has really gripped American culture right now, that you have a right to personal peace, comfort, and even personal happiness, and that those are the primary pursuits of life, you will find that you'll grow increasingly numb over time, and ultimately, the meaning of events themselves will become less and less real and tangible. Instead, God invites us into a journey of entering into love and sharing even in life compassionately with others. The word compassion means to suffer with. It's impossible to actually know and embrace the realities of humanity without entering into suffering. The second thing is truth. Truth has its measures, and one of the things that both joy and suffering allow for is this whole range of being able to distinguish what brings about qualities of life. Qualities of life that are good, qualities of life that are destructive. And the fact that we can register and distinguish what kinds of qualities of life ultimately are good and to tell the truth about that is really important. So our ability to love, our ability to connect with truth, and ultimately our ability to stand with those who are struggling for justice. The idea that there is a right and good for humanity that is knowable, discernible, and that we can act in line with God and even act in conflict with our government structures if need be, is really important and is rooted in the Christian tradition. So I'm going to start doing a whole series of videos trying to introduce people to whether it's books or movies or reflections that will actually help us penetrate this issue on a deeper level. I'm really concerned that we have here in the West nurtured a flimsy Christianity that's not able to really set our eyes on what is truly good and go for it, counting the cost and walking with Jesus. And Jesus says, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. And I want to acknowledge this is for all people. His cross, her cross, our cross. We are all people who, if you're going to live a fully functioning life, you're going to have both joy and sorrow. And the fullness of life is not found in eliminating one or the other, but is found in actually finding meaning in the joy and in the sorrow. I see so many people out there, and they're enjoying one day and they're struggling the next, but the meaning of their struggle or the meaning of their celebration is very thin and ultimately gives no satisfaction. You see, satisfaction comes from being a participant in the shaping of history itself and looking back at your life and knowing that you have contributed to the history that matters. That's what I'm talking about. Do you know that you are a contributor to the history that matters and that will continue to matter?